Okay, in part 2 of setting up VRC, we want to go back up to the settings sub-menu and into general again, and we'll continue with the second tab over across the top, which is hotkeys. In this area, you'll want to select the key. This is an important key. It enables you to select any aircraft and work with it. Most everybody uses the backward apostrophe key, which is located above the tab key and left of the number 1 key on your keyboard. If you highlight this area and just hit on that key, it will select it into that box. For the second box, the controller select key, your choice. It's less important. I find that it doesn't get used very often. The third box, the right control, is pretty much the standard for the push-to-talk keys among controllers. But again, you can use whatever key you want, as long as it is a key that is rarely used or never used, and it won't cause any confusion for you. But if you're happy with the right control key, you can select that and continue on. Airspace, the important part here is to drag our target visibility range down to the left and right down to the 10 nautical mile range. As a clearance and delivery controller, we have no need to see any further than that. And doing this keeps our bandwidth usage to a minimum, and that's the way VATSIM would like it to be. Whatever airport you happen to be working, whether it's Albany, Boston, or Portland, or Providence, in the arrival field, type in the identifier for the field in both arrival and departure boxes, and that will allow VRC to populate your aircraft departures and arrivals window with the arrivals and departures that show up at your airport. We'll see that in just a minute. That's it for this tab. We don't need to have anything to do with any of these other tabs except the button bar. On the button bar, I suggest that you disable Show Filters button and disable Show Quick Look button, at least initially. And you can select the rest of these to suit yourself, but for right now, let's leave them this way. And clicking on OK will finish that window. Now going back to View, click on the button bar at the top, and you'll see that your screen now includes this information at the top left. Quickly, these four small areas are alerts. They will flash to indicate an event that's taking place in your VRC, and it's just a way to either alert you or to remind you there's something that you need to attend to. More about that later on when you're working with your individual instructor. The next window is the UTC clock, or Greenwich Mean Time, and below that you can see set primary frequency in red letters. That's telling us that we do not have a comms section set up yet. The last two sections are timers. If you click on one of these, in this case it'll start a 3-minute countdown clock, and at the end of that time it will give you an audible alert. Clicking on it again stops it. These are used for departure separation or other separation purposes. Okay, let's go to Tools. In the Tools drop-down, the first thing we want to work with is the Comms panel. Opening the Comms panel, drag that across your screen and put it right about in this section so that your window manipulation fields are clear. And you'll see there's nothing set up in here, and what we're going to do is just quickly set up Providence Ground as an example. Clicking on the box under Name in the first line extends the data area at the bottom. Let's type in here PVD_GND. And the next line down, we'll type in 121.900. This always needs to be 6 digits. Going down further, we'll type rw.boston, artcc.net, and in the last box, we'll type G90_121.900. And if you're happy with that, click on Save Changes. That will now cause the first line to be listed as Providence Ground, and when you're controlling, you can click on the primary button over here, which will select that as your primary frequency that you're working with. You can see over here on the left hand side that the frequency is now showing and the reminder is gone, and it also checks the transmit and receive windows. The last thing you want to do here is click on the headset box if you're using a headset and you've already completed the setup of your audio devices. It won't work right now because we're not connected, but you will, if you want to use your headset, you'll have to click on that. Now, the nice feature here is, having done all this, if you double click in the blue bar at the top, it rolls that window up out of the way, but it keeps it available for your immediate access. This is nice if you're using a single monitor or a laptop and you want to keep these tools available to you, but you don't want them to take up space on your screen. Very nice feature. Back to the tools menu, let's click on the controller list, drag that over next to the comms panel, and leave it right here. It's not populated as of yet, but in this window, this will be important to you later on. It'll show you what other controllers are available around you, and it will give you a means to contact them. So let's double click that, roll it up, go back to tools, get the aircraft list. I mentioned this earlier when we were setting up, when we were typing PVD into the arrival and departure fields in our settings. This is where aircraft who are inbound to your airport or who show up at your airport and are outbound will appear. And there are a lot of ways you can work with those aircraft and a lot of information that will be presented for you here. This is a very important window and you'll want to have this available. For now, let's roll it up. And the last one we're going to check on is the weather panel in the tools menu. Drag that over again, and you'll see that there's nothing in it, but as you're working with your instructor, he will show you the value of this particular window. Let's roll that one up and then get out of the way. Last thing we want to do here is we want to show you how to go online. Now that we're all set up with VRC, we have our sector file loaded, we have our labels visible, and we have all our tools available at the top of the screen. We want to go online. So clicking on the file menu, you should see a connect line. Click on that. It will open up another window for you that tells you want to connect to VATSIM. In the call sign menu, there are two broad options here. The first is if you're going to go online as an observer, you would type in here ZBW _ your initials _ OBS, just like that. And below it, we would use the observer level. But we're not going to do that. We're going to go online as a ground controller right now. So type in here PVD _ GND, just like we did up in the comms box. Next box, your real name, as VATSIM knows it. The next box, we wouldn't be an observer now. We'd be a ground controller. So I did that by the arrow keys, but the drop-down menu is just as easy. Click on ground, and next line over, your rating. If you're brand new, your rating will be observer. In my case, it's not, so I'll select whatever works for me. And one of the little peculiarities of this is you can select any level below you that you have been qualified for, but nothing that you're not qualified for, or it will reject it. Next window in sequence is your certificate ID or your VATSIM ID. In my case, 960263. And over in the password window, your VATSIM password. Not VATUSA, but VATSIM. And clicking to the next window, it's not generally a good idea to have a Europe server if you're not in Europe. In most cases, you want to select one of the USA servers because it makes sense to have a server closer to you to conserve bandwidth. So we'd select either the USA S3 or USA West 2. But in my case right now, I'm going to select the Sweatbox server because I do want to go online, but not on the regular system. I just want to show you this. Having set this window all up, click on Connect, and you can see down in the lower section of your screen that a bunch of text appeared, and scrolling up into that, you can see that VRC tells us we are connected, and it also provides this standard warning from VATSIM about using your real information, etc. And so now we're online, and if we were online at Providence and we had aircraft, they would show up on the screen and we could start working with them. I hope that's been useful to you. I hope it helps you get your VRC set up, and I look forward to working with you. Thank you.